It was so like, Josh. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Be serious, man. Hello, YouTube. My name is Noah. This is CabbageTalks, my channel, and today I am talking with
AzrielSword100.
Yes, we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were going to
that was
like this.
No.
Okay.
Hey, Arnold, the Christmas episode. Arnold's Christmas.
Yeah. Turns out that. By the way, wish Noah a happy birthday. He's officially 20 years old. And that's a big birthday. So round of applause for Noah. Turns out we're both we have big inner children inside. Like, we are very in touch with our inner child. However you say it, we're very nostalgic. We both really love this old Nickelodeon show from the 90s called Hey Arnold. It was a staple of the 90s and of our childhood. You know, put that together with Rocket Power and with Cat Dog and Rugrat. All those shows, that was like what made us into the people we are. Those shows kind of defined our early years. So watching these shows now, rewatching them again, 15, 20 years later, you know, it's been a very long time since we've seen these shows, and not only do we feel like children again, but we can appreciate some of the more, well, very mature elements in these shows. And we thought none exemplified this more than Hey Arnold's Christmas special. Noah?
Well, basically, the whole boarding house is doing. I guess, is it called Dirty Santa? Is that what it has different names?
Secret Santa.
Secret Santa. Dirty Santa. I think that's something different. I think that's a suppressed memory. So they're all doing Secret Santa, and Arnold gets Mr. Hyunh. I always like want to say something else because it's spelled like Hyunh. But anyway, he gets Mr. Hyunh as his Secret Santa, and he has no idea what to get him. He doesn't really know much about him, and he always seems to get sad over the Christmas time, like over the holidays.
Arnold sits him down and he tries, almost in an interrogation, like trying to find something that he can use to figure out what kind of gift he can give Mr. Hyunh. He has everything he would want material-wise, but he reveals that about 20 years before, so that would set him around the mid-1970s, because this takes place in the 90s. During that time, he was living in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. He was in South Vietnam, and the conflict from the north was starting to come down to his village. He's a young 20-year-old guy. He has a brand new daughter, like a newborn, maybe like a few months old. And he has a family, and all he really wants in life is to watch his daughter grow up. But he realizes the conflict is going to keep spreading, and it's not safe. It's not a good place to raise a child. When the war finally reaches where he is, everybody in his village, everybody around him, rushes to the U.S. Embassy as the rescue helicopters are coming in, begging and screaming to be taken out of the country and into the U.S. And the helicopters are full to capacity, and there are just too many people. So the helicopter guy says, we have enough room for one more person. And he has to make this incredibly difficult decision. I can sacrifice my happiness for now to ensure the well-being and future happiness of my child, or I can stay with my child, be happy until, you know, hellfire rains down as the Americans carpet bomb and the North Vietnamese start, you know, shooting up the village. Like, those are my options. He realizes that the only thing he can do is save his daughter. So he hands Mai, who's his very young baby daughter, to the helicopter, and he has to wait 20 years after the conflict is over before he can immigrate to the U.S. So he missed his daughter's entire life, her entire childhood. Reaches the U.S. He overhears that the guard says that he's dropping off the immigrants or the refugees, I guess, in New York, and that's the first place he goes. So yeah, Arnold figures out that the only thing worthwhile giving to Mr. Wynn as a Christmas gift is reuniting him with his daughter. Except in a city of, I'm gonna guess, 2-3 million people, that's not exactly the easiest thing, especially considering that he's doing this the day before Christmas.
Yeah. So that's kind of our A story. Then we have kind of a B story with Helga, and she really wants to get the perfect present for Arnold. I mean, she's basically tearing her hair out trying to find out what's the perfect present. She wants him to get something. She wants to get him something flashy or something, something that's just gonna blow his mind and show how she feels. While at the same time, she really wants these Nancy Spumoni snow boots. Which I thought that was funny to name them, Nancy Spumoni's snow boots. I thought that was humorous. But yeah, she really wants those. So she's just going all around town trying to find Arnold the right present, basically. And back to Arnold, him and Gerald, they end up going to this, I guess, agency or some kind of place where they can find people.
Yeah, it's like an information bureau.
Yeah, it's a bit late, and they go in to talk to this guy, and he basically says, "Oh, I'm too busy to help you," and all that. And Arnold tells him the whole story, and he's just like, "I'm too busy. I have to go Christmas shopping." So Arnold offers to do the shopping for him.
Am I the only one who find it funny that they managed to buy like 100 things with only $300?
The 90s, dude.
I remember the 90s. We were not that well off.
Okay, sure, but yeah, okay. You know what? Yeah, because when they went to the watch shop, I was like, got the watch. I was like, that looks like a gold watch. He like hands him some money. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like even if it ain't a Rolex, it's gonna be like at least $150. That's half of your spending money. There's no way that, because you saw how many bags they were carrying.
They had a lot of bags,
and it was a move on the part of the bureau guy to be so pedantic about one item.
Yeah, like because the thing is, he wouldn't have been able to get it if he had gone shopping himself. He would not have gotten it.
So there's no reason for him to hold it over them. Like
that was So when they actually did, get all the stuff, he basically does. Yeah, he does that. He holds it over them. He's like, "Well, told you to get all the stuff. Couldn't get it, so fuck off."
Yeah, like ignoring the fact that I love the scene where they go to the first store, and they're like, "We were looking for some Nancy Spumoni snow boots."
I need a pair of Nancy Spumoni snow boots.
Could you wait just a minute?
Sure. See, this is gonna be easy.
Go ahead, kid. Tell us what you want.
A pair of Nancy Spumoni snow boots. I don't get it. What's so funny?
We've been sold out of those boots for a month. But in all seriousness, if you want to put your name on a waiting list, I could get you a pair by, say, the 4th of July.
4th of July. They're all just cracking up. It's hilarious.
That's such a dick move on their part, but considering the fact that subsequently every manager in every store they go to has the same reaction, it means it's basically impossible to get those boots at this point. Helga's mom gets her the boots because that's like the one thing she really wanted for Christmas. And she said she had to wait 18 hours in line?
I think like 11 or 18 hours, yeah.
But I'm guessing that Helga's mom got it way earlier in the holiday shopping season, before Arnold. So if a month earlier, the average person had to wait 18 hours in line to get these boots, Arnold didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell. So we also, speaking of Helga, she has this very materialistic and kind of warped sense of what Christmas and the holidays are meant to be. She sees it as, to quote her, it's about getting mine before the other guy gets theirs. It's about presents. It's about getting the best thing you can. It's about shopping. And I'm like,
And I think that's kind of showing of her upbringing too. I mean, who taught her that?
Like
I mean, let's be honest.
I feel like this isn't Helga. This is a puppet, like a ventriloquist puppet, and Big Bob Pataki's the one moving the mouth. Because that just sounds like him. And I have to give props to... I did a mental note, and I can't remember, but the guy who composed the music for this episode.
Jim Lang.
Jim Lang.
Yes.
This guy's music, because you feel transported, like it's that kind of a whistling, soft music that like moves you to a different location. You can feel how far away Mr. Wynn's gaze is, because every time they play it, Mr. Wynn's looking off, smoking his pipe, looking at the fireplace.
You know, I guess probably thinking of memories.
Like thinking like how far away he's basically looking 20 years into the past, and you feel it. Every note of that music was beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always love Jim Lang when I hear him in the show. I'm always hoping that, you know, maybe one day somebody will like find a big folder somewhere. It'll just have every single song he made for the show, and then they'll release it, because I will buy that up in a heartbeat. But so Helga, you know, she has the snow boots, and as Azriel was saying, she has this huge moral dilemma.
She was at the mall and she showed Arnold and Gerald, I'm sorry, the video game thing, right? And said, I bet anybody who got this would be like floored by how awesome the gift is. And Gerald quotes Arnold and says, it seems kind of cold and it doesn't really show any kind of emotional. And she's like, her hair falls, like droops like a dog's ears when it's sad. Like she was...
That was hilarious.
So she kind of like stalks Arnold and Gerald and watches them from corners and alleys to see where they're going. They are desperate to... She follows them throughout their entire shopping thing for the Nancy Spilmoney snow boots. And when they finally go out of the bureau, and it's already late at night, and they're sitting on the bench and they're sad, and they basically are talking to each other about how they failed on account of one item. That's how she overhears about their need for the Nancy Spilmoney snow boots. She's
kind of torn between these, you know, two choices, but eventually you see her, you know, going to the bureau guy, and sorry if you can hear the music outside. She ends up going to the bureau guy, and she asks him like, "Hey, can you please, you know, I hear the boots. Take." She said something like, "If you leave now, that little football-headed kid will never believe in miracles again," or something like that.
Yeah. It's a very impassioned speech, because considering her speech to Phoebe at the beginning of the episode, how incredibly self-centered and materialistic it was at first, she did a complete 180. Just because of the influence Arnold has over her. Like not because she likes him, but because he's right. And because she feels that he's right. So seeing her so desperate, arguing so desperately, so that the bureau guy will actually look up May Win, it's actually kind of emotional. So, you know, the next day comes over, Arnold's just sitting in a chair. He's just depressed. Basically, he's like, I couldn't do it. Like I failed, and I couldn't get him, you know, what he wanted. And, you know, I came so close. And they're opening up all the gifts. Oscar gets a bag of coal. Fitting. Am I the only one who doesn't? I hate Mr. Kakashka. Oh, he gets worse. He gets worse. Well, I'll just say that. I'm not gonna. He gets worse. He is the most selfish character, I think, in the entire series. Yeah, definitely, by far. So, you keep the money. What? Oh, God, I like his voice though. Like that. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Yeah. So, they're all giving out the presents and stuff, and
Grandpa is looking under the tree for Mr. Wynn's present, and he doesn't see it. And he's like, "Where's? I guess he doesn't have one." Mr. Wynn's like, "Oh, it's fine. I don't need a present, you know." And this is what he was talking about earlier with the the music comes in, and he's just looking at the fire, and it's just shoot, like it's just you can just feel his. I don't even know what to call it. You can feel his pain.
It's a distant gaze of somebody he's in the room, but physically, but mentally, emotionally, he's with his daughter. He's trying to find her. That's all he's really thinking about.
Yeah. So then the doorbell rings, and in comes May Wynn. What is that? God, this when they see each other, it's just so emotional.
It's instant recognition on both of their parts. They haven't seen each other in 20 years. He only saw her as an infant. She could probably barely remember her. And I'm guessing the only reason she understood what was going on is because Helga and the Information Bureau guy explained it to her. But even with that very little information, they connect instantly. And you feel the emotion in their voice. The voice actor for Mr. Wynn in the scene where he embraces her. Oh my God.
Oh, when he says, he said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but oh man, you could just hear like his voice. He was just so like, oh man, sorry man,
No, it got me. It almost got Noah, but I cried. Like I got a tear in my eye from that because it was so well done. The music balanced out and fed the emotion that you were feeling because you felt for these characters. You know, you don't really know much about Mr. Wynn, but you can identify with the circumstances that he's facing. And all the hell that Arnold went through to get these two together and see the payoff at the end of the episode was perfect.
And I love the finishing touch where he's talking about a guardian angel, and then it shows Helga outside, and she's just like Merry Christmas, Arnold. I'm just like that was just like that was just the icing on the cake. Just wow.
And
that was beautiful.
It shows such character growth for Helga because usually she's so self-serving and she's a bit of a glory hound. And then, now I saw the shadow. That was actually just a paper though. She doesn't even attempt to take responsibility for getting Mr. Wynn's daughter. She doesn't boast about it. She doesn't say a single word. They don't even find out that she's the one who managed to get it done.
Yeah.
She did it completely selflessly, out of no ulterior motive, no desire for Arnold to care more about her. It was purely because she wanted to do right by Arnold. She wanted to do the right thing. That's all. And I think that's a lot for Helga.
That's a lot. That is definitely a lot. Yeah. I don't know. This episode, it's always been kind of. I've always remembered it like as that one episode that was just it stood out definitely among all the Hey Arnold episodes. This isn't something that you see, on an episode of SpongeBob or anything. This is like real people. You really feel real. You feel like these characters are real and they're going through these things. So it's just this episode definitely stands out for me. And seeing it again after all these years is amazing because it's like picking up a really old book and then but you're also like, since you read it such a long time ago, it's you pick up on a lot more stuff, which is what I like what you said at the very beginning of this. Like when you watch something so much later, you pick up a lot more on a lot of the themes and motifs and stuff that it was in there the whole time. You just didn't necessarily know about it.
I feel like it's. I don't know if you had this when you graduated from high school, but I did. I most certainly did. When we graduated, the last class of the last day of school, whoever the teacher was that was in charge of it would read to us the book "Oh, the Places You Will Go" by Dr. Seuss. And it's a Dr. Seuss book. Like when I first heard that my teacher was going to read that book to us, right? It's like a little 15, 20 page book.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Dr. Seuss. And I'm thinking, oh no, what is this gonna be? You know, it's gonna be like green eggs and ham, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, Sam I Am. It's not gonna be worth my time. But then, because I hadn't read the book, I hadn't read Oh, the Places You Will Go since kindergarten. But then she read it to us, and I almost cried. Because it had an entirely different meaning now. Yeah. Because it's basically about you're ending one stage of your life and moving on to basically the entire rest of your life. And it's an entirely new experience. Your old life as a child is dead. It's gone. You're moving on now. And it can either be all uphill or downhill from here. When I was like 18 years old, and it carried an entirely different weight. So for me, watching this episode with you now, and I watched it a few years ago, back when I was like 16.
I think I did too. Yeah.
But knowing what I know now about the Vietnam War, and you know, understanding that a lot of immigrants did go through things like this, it feels so much more real. It feels, I don't know, more emotional. And I have to applaud the series, considering that the series is written and meant for a young audience, you know, 10-year-olds. But it doesn't talk down to them. It doesn't treat them as ignorant. It places very heavy subject matter in front of them and says, here, deal with the emotions, because this is real.
Yeah, that's what makes it so amazing. That they don't talk down to their audience. They don't treat them like, you know, they don't treat them like they're four or anything like some shows tend to do. They don't baby you. They just tell you, hey, this is real. Like, this is what's real and this is what's happening, and I'm going to show you this because it's the truth. And I applaud the makers of the show. Craig Bartlett, you and everyone else around you that were supporting this and making this show happen, and this episode happen, like, just hit it out of the ballpark. This episode was really just fantastic.
And Hey Arnold is one of those shows that has a lot of standout moments and a lot of standout characters, but not a whole lot of like whole episodes where it like gets seared into your brain. You know, like you might remember individual scenes, but you hear Hey Arnold Christmas special, immediately you remember that feeling. You know, it's a testament to how well they do heavy subject matter, because the episodes that I remember the most are the episodes like the Veterans Special. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
The road trip with Gerald and Grandpa, and they actually go to Washington D.C. to the memorial wall with all the fallen soldiers, and they freaking talk about Hitler. They talk about, for Gerald's dad, the Vietnam War, or is it Korea? I can't remember, but just they make it a little lighthearted, but at the same time, when you know what they're talking about, oh my God, like this is some heavy shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it does a really good job when it gets super serious, like topics that shouldn't be for children. That's when the show shines, I think.
Yeah.
You know? Like I don't know, there was one episode where they have to save the neighborhood tree.
Wow, you just reminded me of that episode. I completely, that I vaguely remember that one. I barely remember that one. See, that one I definitely have not seen in many years, because I only vaguely remember that, just because you said that. Wow, yeah.
I mean, like I lived my first few years of my life in New York, and every time I go there, I am constantly reminded of the fact that there is like no life here outside of human life. Trees, individual, not even trees, they're just little sticks with leaves on them, grow fences inside the sidewalk. Like you have your sidewalk and then a thin, stringy little tree.
I've always thought that's very odd. Like, I think it's just to like give people the illusion of life. Like, oh yes, this isn't a complete cold and just soulless place. No, it's not. We have trees here. We have nature. Don't, junkyard dog nature. It's we have that here.
I think I saw a pigeon over there once shitting on my window.
Oh, we got to do that episode together.
Oh yes, the pigeon man. The symbolism at the end.
Oh,
without spoiling.
Yeah. Just yeah. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about the episode or anything?
Well, just like I was saying, the episodes that stick out the most are the ones that have a more serious undertone. Like remember the one where Helga and her mom go on a road trip?
Oh, the one with the mechanical bull?
Yes. Basically anything with Helga's family, because they're the most dysfunctional group of.
Yeah, and we all know.
Yeah, Helga's mom's.
Yes, yes. I mean, come on.
Dad's a workaholic, sociopath. Mom's a drunkard.
But when perfect, like the epitome of like everything that.
And there's clear favoritism. Like you can tell, Helga's parents don't give a rat's ass about her.
Her dad never remembers her age or her name. Is it her age or her name?
Either.
I think it's both. Yeah, it's both. He just, I'm 9, Dad. Like, jeez.
God. But remember the episode where Helga's mom gets sober and like she has to like work instead of Bob, and she becomes even better than Bob at selling beavers?
Yeah.
And that scene where she like tells her daughter off, says, "Look, I don't have time to deal with you. Fix your own problems. I'm busy working." And then she sees herself in the recording because they accidentally left the camera on filming, seeing herself more than just on the mirror, on screen, being that callous to her own daughter. That was heavy.
Yeah.
And it's weird because there are kids that could probably relate to poor Helga at that moment, where her dad's out of commission, her mom's always working, and she's by herself. Final thoughts on the episode, on Hey Arnold Christmas special?
I think this is a great episode. I think that it shows a lot of maturity, and I think it's kind of a brave step, honestly. The show, it tackles, like we said, heavier things, and that's actually pretty brave, because a lot of shows, they either just don't do it, or they do it, maybe they do it wrong and it doesn't work out. So I mean, this show, they took risks, and I like that they took risks. This episode's great. It's very emotional. I love, the moment when they meet, and it's just the closure. That feels so. It just feels great to see that, and it almost brings a tear. Almost brought one to mind. I brought one to hit. So, what about you?
No, I completely agree. The show really shines because it takes those risks, and it doesn't like go full mature to the point where it alienates the younger audience or confuses them beyond reason, But at the same time, you can be our age. I'm 22, he's 20, and we're considered adults, older viewing audience. We can appreciate it because it doesn't talk down to its original target audience, because it didn't insult the intelligence of the 9 and 10-year-olds watching. The 20-year-olds watching can appreciate it. And
I mean, I can name more than a handful of shows that talk down to their audience right now. I won't, but because I'm. And
it is a detriment to that show, because it's the shows that don't do that. The shows that will either be satirical towards things that an older audience member could enjoy, like the Animaniacs, or shows that deal with things like Hey Arnold that are real life issues, real life problems, family issues like Helga, absentee parents, and being raised by a non-traditionalist family like Arnold, who's raised by grandparents, not parents.
One of them is completely crazy. So
yeah, one of them is crazy.
But also a badass.
Yes. She's a ninja. She stole that turtle like a boss.
That was so boss. Now you're getting to number 9.
But number 9. I love where she keeps her hand in the sleeve. And
yeah, man.
The show, like every show that I consider a great show from my childhood, did that. It targeted issues that a person that's watching it at the correct target age, like 9 and 10-year-olds, could understand, but it left enough that someone a little older, like us, could get something new out of it, could appreciate it in an entirely new light as we got older. And to me, that's the mark of a very good, well-written, and well-rounded show.
That's why we need the Jungle movie. Just find the petition online and sign it. Like, just do it, okay? And I just want to say this real quick note. Nickelodeon hinted at, I don't know if you know about this, they hinted at the Jungle movie on their Facebook. I'll put the image up in the video so you guys can see it, that are viewing this. But they actually hinted, they were talking about something, it was completely irrelevant, like, they were talking about some stuff, and then they said, how about a Jungle movie? Winky face. That, either, I don't know how to feel, because I'm kind of pissed off, because I'm like, don't fuck with that. Don't do that. Because if you're fucking with people's heads, excuse my French, if you're fucking with people's heads, then I'm just gonna,
Like you're treading on very dangerous ground. Like
this really are.
This is something that people have been waiting for the past
11 years. 10 years. 11
years. And we got cock teased when we heard a movie, a theatrical release movie for Harold. We're like, yes, Arnold's gonna find his parents. Awesome.
And
corporate guy buying neighborhood, fucking hell.
That fucking non-canon bullshit. That was just, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. If they had come out with the movie like at the end of season 2 or even 3, fine. But don't even do it after a finale like that. Not even an
ending. It just stopped. The show just stopped.
I showed my roommate that just a week ago, and he didn't know. He had no idea. He watched the show, but he wasn't as big a fan as me. I showed him that. Grandpa, I found him out. Cut to black. He was just staring at the screen. He was like, what? And I'm like, that's it. That's the end of the show. And he's like, those bitches. And I'm like, yeah, you don't do that.